Peace, peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Out here. Minutes at the beach. Oh, looking to blackbirds. But just a reminder to remember that, there's no right or wrong, and we're never necessarily being punished. And we want to start moving into a place of making sure we no longer even speaking like that, as far as like, oh, the universe punishing me or doing something of that nature, because it's all you, it's all your subconscious manifesting things. And that very notion, like the fact that you would say, oh yeah, the universe is punishing me in that essence, that may still point out that in your subconscious you still feel like you're suffering due to some external condition, like where like you're feeling like you're not the creator of your situation. You're feeling like some external thing is causing things to happen, so you like, I'm being punished. But it's like, nah, you're going through the energies of what you have manifested, you know and obviously you kind of been in that loop long enough to where you forgot that you was the one who created this loop in the first place, and you're not necessarily being punished. you know and also speaking to the things like, realizing again, when things seem like they fuck up, like, oh, things are messing up and going array, or things seem like they're not lining up for you. That's because things are lining up for you. A lot of times, again, we're moving out of a place of like, letting our thoughts and our mind rule over us. And a lot of our actions, a lot of like our habitual nature comes from following our mind, and or following rigid rules that were created, that that's plugged into our subconscious, things of this nature. But like, I think about situations where I was like, going to catch a bus one day. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to go catch a bus, about to go by UCLA and go work on some things, this and that. And then, get to the bus stop, and as I'm walking towards the bus stop, I see the bus kind of like about to pass me up. And then another thing too, realizing that everything is synchronized. Like, you should never feel like you have to rush or try to, run to do something. Like, the universe is always taking care of us. Everything is always in alignment. So I started to like run a little bit, and I caught myself. I'm like, bro, look, if the bus passing you up, it wasn't meant for you to catch it. And just as soon as that moment where I accepted that vibe, and it was like, oh, hey, it wasn't meant for me to catch that bus, I end up synchronistically meeting somebody, that I was supposed to meet, in that moment. Like, as I just missed the bus, and then they pull up on me like, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit, that's why I missed the bus. But on that egoic mind level, and that aspect of us that want to control everything, it's like, oh man, that's fucked up. I didn't go to UCLA like I planned to do. And again, all that rigid planning and stuff like that is out the window. Only reason why you feel like, it's not a free will universe, or you don't, or you feel like you're not a creator, because you're lined up with you're lined up with your old earth. You're lined up with the old you. You're lined up with the part of you that's ruled by the egoic mind. You know what I'm saying? And that aspect of us, it is done for that aspect of us. We're no longer operating from that aspect. We're moving into, what some people may call 5D, whatever, but we're moving into a high vibrational state. So we're no longer, allowed to be in that vibe. But, again, negativity is not bad, It's just an aspect, that comes in, to create that balance, in essence. Without your feet hurting, You know, somebody call that a negative situation. You know, my feet hurt. Without our feet hurting, the person would, you know, somebody wouldn't have invented a chair if it wasn't for the negative aspect of our feet hurting from standing up so long, you know what I'm saying? Or creating some type of apparatus to sit, you know, to rest our legs, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's through going through something, you know, somebody had to fall off a bike and bump their heads very hardly to realize to create a helmet, you know? Like, that's what inspires creation, you know? You have to see a bunch of motherfuckers acting like zombies in order for you to want to create, you know, videos that help for people to not be zombies, or to help people deal with crystals, or to do Reiki work. Because otherwise you wouldn't even be worried about or Reiki work, or none of that wouldn't exist if they didn't have, you know, unhealthiness for that Reiki work to heal. You know, what good would be Reiki work if everybody was already healed, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything has a, you know, a balance, and with that doesn't mean like that's two different things, you know, the negative and positive. Nah, they two sides to one coin, you know, and you know, helping with the balance of things, you know. But you know, there are no rules. The only rules there are the 7 Hermetic principles, you know. There's no one to pray to. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge your inner source is your inner source, nothing external, you know. Again, in that whole vibe of like, you know, being punished and all that, that still carries that vibe of like something external is punishing you, which is basically, it's not, it's yourself punishing you. And more so yourself punishing you because you have the idea that something is punishing you from an external aspect. Now, of course, like, because I say that sometimes in this man, like, oh yeah, my higher self is spanking me. But again, like, you know, my inner source, my higher self, you know, not no, you know, like something that's inside of me is causing this to happen, and not something outside of me causing this to happen, you know. But again, you know, that's the whole aspect. Again, you know, when things seem like they go out of whack or whatever, that's just our higher self keeping us in alignment with our soul purpose. I look back and see at how many times, you know, I wanted to connect with a certain queen or something, you know, within my growth, you know, and how many close calls, like throughout my growth, like certain beings that, you know, like, bruh, like I really wanted to connect with that being in that moment, but realizing like that wasn't, you know, in alignment with my soul purpose, you know, that wasn't in alignment for the high situation. And then I go on my Instagram and I see that person, you know, with you know, with their significant other now, you know what I'm saying, where they done found that person that really was supposed to line up for them, you know what I'm saying? And you see like, all right, like that's real, at how, you know, the universe, you know, allow for these things to play out so we could be, you know, guided and shifted towards being in alignment with our soul purpose. Because again, a lot of these things be ideas from what we've been subconsciously programmed to believe what, you know, our life should look like and things of this nature, when it's not, you know. Again, we have this little mapped out life, but it's due to our thoughts and our egoic mind of like what we were taught on a subconscious level, or should I say what we were taught, and it being plugged in on the subconscious. So, you know, we feel like this is what our life should look like, you know, when it's really, you know, again, like our soul purpose be on a whole nother vibe. So as you going to say, for instance, meet this person, like this person that in your mind you feel like, oh, this is the one for me, but like on a soul level it's not. So you in your car trying to go meet this person, and you catch a flat tire, and say, for instance, you persist through that flat tire, like that flat tire don't deter you. You're like, nah, fuck that, you know, fix my flat tire, I'm gonna keep it moving. Then something else happen where you might get swerved off the road a little bit or something. Cause like I even say cause a wreck, not necessarily harming you, but you know, cause a little wreck or something to throw you off again, or like, and I say a wreck, but something to veer you off of that path, you know. And the universe constantly trying to show you like, no, bro, like, you know, this is your idea from your egoic mind and your lower nature type of vibe, you know, of your idea of, you know, what your mate should be. But, you you know, this is not truly who your mate should be on the soul level, you know what I'm saying? So we help, like, as your inner source, as your higher self that has that hawk's eye view on things. Because remember, you know, like the eye of Haru, or like our first eye, you know, it's like a hawk in the sky. And like, say for instance, if you standing in your neighborhood, you could only see the houses that's right around you, you know, the immediate houses that's right within your radius of your eyes. But a hawk that's in the sky, he could see your house, he could see a 50, probably like a 20 block radius, you know what I'm saying, and see like, all right, shit going on way over here. Look, don't worry about what you see with your two eyes. Trust that, like, this higher eye in the sky, see that things is lining up for you. So trust that you know, that higher self aspect, you know. And again, just doing this video as a reminder, you know, because I'm seeing that vibe too, of I was like getting that vibe, but not trying to repeat certain videos. But I see that, you know, certain video, you know, certain energies and certain things, just, you know, we need to be reminded of, you know, constantly, you know. Like, again, we constantly, just like affirmations, constantly saying affirmations, you know, some things we need to constantly remember, you know, that, hey, I'm not being punished, that, hey, everything is always in alignment. If something seems like it went wrong, it just seemed like it went wrong to my ego or some type of egoic mind plan that I had thought out or whatever. But the real alignment, you know, is, you know, within whatever my, you know, whatever this situation is really trying to lead me to, you know. But that's basically it. You know, just realize that you're never being punished. There's no right or wrong or good or bad. Like, oh, there's something bad that happened to you, or there's something good that happened to you. You know, it's some aspect, you know. I mean, for that, you know, whether you want to say negative or positive, you know, that's a better way to say it. You know, it's a positive aspect that happened or a negative aspect. Neither one is necessarily good or bad, you know what I'm saying? A person could go to jail and you know, by that jail experience, learn to never be a certain way again, and to, like, going to jail taught them to stop self-sabotaging themselves, and they never self-sabotage themselves again. And you know, after they got out of jail, they created their own business and started a family and things of this nature. And that person would say, bro, jail was a beautiful, like, that was a, you know, and I say a good thing, but that was a beautiful situation in my realm, you know what I'm saying? That helped me out, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's a perception and a perspective, you know, like what lens you're looking at it through. But ultimately, you know, it's no wrong or right, good or bad. It's the experience that's causing you to learn and grow from it. You know, point blank, period. Not necessarily labeled with anything, you know, just, hey, experience, you know, may be negative or positive in that sense. But again, negative and positive don't mean good or bad. You know, has a negative charge or a positive charge, you know. That's like saying one half of the battery is bad because it's negative, you know. Oh, that's like saying negative ions is bad. In fact, negative ions help to, you know, when we connecting with negative ions, matter of fact, negative ions cause, but like the ocean water, like as the waves move and water constantly flows, it creates negative ions, basically like an atom that has an extra electron, you know, and due to that extra electron, basically, again, when it interfaces with our being, it's a catalyst. And I say catalyst, I'm trying to use but you know, it basically sparks the production of serotonin in our being. So that's why we feel so calm and at ease and, you know, and happy, or just feel good when we're around a water fountain or around water, things of this nature, you know. So again, looking at the name of a negative ion, but a negative ion isn't a bad thing because it's a negative ion, you know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. But basically, peace, happy now. Now is a vibrative course, not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past, right now. And also remember, you know, being in the moment to the fullest. You know, you're fixing past situations and creating your future right now. Like, it is no, oh man, in the future this gonna happen, in the future that's gonna happen. No, right now it's creating the future, you know. And you only may feel like the world gonna end, you know. Let's just say, like, you know, oh man, I feel like this catastrophic thing is gonna happen. Probably because you're doing something in your now that's gonna lead to maybe a catastrophic thing happening in your future. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see the future is catastrophic compared to like seeing your future is like, oh man, we're gonna make this happen and we're gonna grow. We're gonna have healing sessions all over the globe and this and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll have more of that type of vision when you're, when you're now aligned with, we're seeing a different type of future. But again, remember that, and remember at the end of the day, it's all about your inner guidance. When you're dealing with videos and books and things of this nature, takes what resonate with your soul and your heart. Takes what really resonate deeply in your soul and your heart. Leave what don't, because it's all about our inner guidance right now. Like really tapping into our inner guidance. We have this information. Remember, like we are high vibrational beings that's put into a human body. But again, yes, we have a humanity aspect to our being, but we also have metaphysical abilities that are, that are very powerful. And by interfacing with certain things in this realm, it hinders that ability. Like by overly using our cell phones, by overly using virtual reality. Like if I keep using virtual reality, then I won't be able to tap in to really have an experience of being on the beach and opening up my pineal. I would be closing it by constantly putting virtual reality in my face. So certain aspects like that, excuse me, a little rat, like my nose, cause but yeah, that whole aspect, that the inner guidance, trust your inner being, cause at the end of the day, you didn't come into this realm with a book sack or an iPhone in your hand. Everything is born and equipped with what it's, with all it needs. Like if you was meant to eat meat, you'd have been born with a gun in your hand. Within your mother's womb, she would have manifested a gun and a pistol, in hunting gear. Like you'd be born with hunting gear on if you was meant to be hunting. You know what I'm saying? Like certain food would be, and not saying that we can't put, say for instance, cayenne pepper on certain foods, but just looking at that aspect though, cayenne pepper would be grown within the food, but the aspect of, us being able to mix it. But again, just because we're able to mix it doesn't necessarily mean that it's meant for us to eat it in that style. Like the fruit is meant to, is there to be eaten how it is. The cayenne's meant is there to be interfaced with how it is. You know what I'm saying? But and not letting our mind, because again, once the mind started to become the energy that was in the driver's seat, that's when things went all crazy. It's about us following our inner being, following our heart, and not following our mind. We could use our mind, we could use our logic whenever there's an area to use it, but using it, not letting it use us, But peace again. Matter of fact, ascension symptoms for myself. But happy now. Now's a vibrative course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace, y'all.